Have you ever encountered someone who constantly blames others for their setbacks, or perhaps someone who refuses to listen and grows stagnant in their ways? More importantly, have you ever paused to reflect on whether you might unknowingly exhibit such traits yourself? Recognizing these patterns isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. In a world brimming with distractions and ego-driven decisions, self-awareness is the cornerstone of wisdom and personal growth. Stoic philosophy, rooted in timeless principles of self-discipline and introspection, offers us a lens to identify these unwise tendencies and transform them. As Epictetus once said, "Man is not disturbed by things, but by the views he takes of them." This profound insight reminds us that our reactions, not external circumstances, define our reality. In this article, we will explore 6 unmistakable signs of foolishness, diving deep into how they hinder growth and tarnish relationships. More importantly, we'll uncover how Stoic philosophy provides practical tools to overcome these pitfalls and cultivate a life of wisdom and resilience. Are you ready to reflect, grow, and embrace the journey toward wisdom? Let's begin. Sign 1. Constantly blaming others. Blaming others is an easy reflex, often employed to shield ourselves from the sting of accountability. However, it's a habit that ultimately erodes our personal growth and damages relationships. Imagine Lisa, a diligent event organizer responsible for planning a high-profile seminar. Despite her meticulous efforts, the event flopped due to a late delivery of marketing materials. Instead of owning her role in coordinating timelines, Lisa directed all her frustration at the marketing team, accusing them of incompetence. This deflection of responsibility may have temporarily eased her guilt, but it cost her something far more valuable: trust. Lisa's colleagues grew wary of working with her, and opportunities for collaboration and improvement slipped through her fingers. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human behavior, recognized the perils of blaming others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote captures the essence of self-mastery. While we cannot control external circumstances, we have full authority over how we respond to them. Blaming others relinquishes this power, leaving us trapped in a cycle of excuses and missed opportunities for growth. Blaming is, at its core, a defense mechanism, a way to protect our ego from admitting shortcomings. Yet, it does more harm than good. Each time we point fingers, we distance ourselves from introspection and the valuable lessons mistakes offer. Worse still, we diminish our credibility in the eyes of others, straining personal and professional relationships. A wise person understands that accepting responsibility is not a sign of weakness, but a marker of strength and maturity. Owning up to mistakes signals courage, inspires respect, and fosters deeper trust with those around us. To break free from the blame cycle, consider the concept of freedom as described by Stoicism. When we blame others, we give away our control, tethering our emotions and decisions to external factors. In contrast, taking responsibility restores our autonomy. For instance, instead of blaming a colleague for a missed deadline, asking, "How can I ensure this doesn't happen again?" shifts the focus to solutions and self-improvement. This proactive mindset not only resolves immediate challenges, but also cultivates long-term resilience. Adopting this perspective can profoundly impact relationships. Imagine a friend cancels plans at the last minute, leaving you frustrated. Instead of accusing them of being unreliable, reflect on your expectations and communication. Did you make your plans clear? Could you approach the situation differently next time? This shift from blame to understanding fosters connection rather than conflict. To internalize this principle, Start by reflecting on your behavior. Take a moment to write down 3 instances in the past week when you blamed others. Examine the root causes of these situations. Were they entirely beyond your control, or could you have handled them differently? Next, commit to a simple yet transformative practice. The next time you feel tempted to blame, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Let's not forget the power of storytelling to inspire change. Reflect on a time when you took full responsibility for a mistake. How did it transform the outcome? Share your story in the comments below. It might resonate with someone else on their journey towards self-improvement. For example, a viewer might recount an experience of admitting an oversight at work and discovering that their honesty deepened their team's respect for them. By taking responsibility, we unlock a hidden strength. This act frees us from the chains of victimhood and empowers us to shape our own destiny. Lisa's story is a cautionary tale, but also a call to action. Imagine how different her situation might have been if she had taken a moment to acknowledge her role in the seminar's failure. She could have collaborated with the marketing team to refine their processes, fostering mutual respect and growth instead of discord. Stoic philosophy reminds us that self-worth is not about avoiding mistakes, but about confronting and correcting them. Blaming others may feel like a quick escape, but it's a dead-end road. Instead, take the more challenging path of accountability, and you'll discover not only personal growth, but also stronger relationships and enduring respect. So, what about you? What's one time you took responsibility instead of blaming others? And how did it change the outcome? Share your experience below. Your insights could inspire others to embrace accountability and embark on their own journey of growth. Sign 2. Fear of change. Fear of change is like standing at the edge of a vast ocean, gazing at its uncharted waters, afraid to dive in. It feels safer to stay on the shore, but growth only happens when we embrace the unknown. This fear traps us in stagnation, convincing us that comfort is preferable to progress. However, as the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. To live fully, we must learn to navigate change rather than fear it. Imagine the story of Michael, a man in his 60s who spent his entire life in the same neighborhood. He knew every corner, every face, and every routine. When his children suggested he move closer to them, Michael resisted. Why change what's been working for decades, he argued. But over time, his familiar surroundings transformed. Neighbors moved away, local shops closed, and his once thriving community became unfamiliar. Reluctantly, Michael agreed to relocate. To his surprise, the new neighborhood brought fresh connections, opportunities, and a sense of belonging he hadn't expected. What initially felt like loss turned into a profound gain. Change, though uncomfortable, became the doorway to a better life. This resistance to change isn't limited to personal lives. Consider the cautionary tale of Blockbuster, the video rental giant. In the late 1990s, Blockbuster dominated its market, believing that their business model was untouchable. When Netflix introduced a subscription-based streaming service, Blockbuster dismissed it as a fad. Their refusal to adapt led to their downfall, while Netflix thrived by embracing change. This story serves as a stark reminder. Fear of change doesn't protect us, it destroys us. But why do we fear change so deeply? The answer lies in our psyche. Change disrupts routines, challenges comfort zones, and introduces uncertainty. It forces us to confront the possibility of failure, which our minds often magnify into a larger-than-life threat. As Seneca wisely observed, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Most of what we fear about change exists in our minds, not in the world itself. Overcoming the fear of change starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of viewing change as a threat, see it as an opportunity. When you reframe change as a chance for growth, it becomes less intimidating. Take small steps toward adaptability, such as experimenting with new habits or embracing minor disruptions in your routine. These small changes build resilience, preparing you for larger transitions. To make this practical, let's try an exercise. Write down a change you've been resisting. Next to it, list 2 potential outcomes, the worst-case scenario and the best-case scenario. Reflect on how likely the worst-case scenario is and what you could learn from it if it happened. Then, focus on the best-case scenario and let it inspire you to take action. Another powerful way to confront the fear of change is to create a change experiment. Choose one area of your life, be it work, relationships, or personal growth, and commit to one significant shift for a week. For example, if you've always avoided public speaking, volunteer to give a short presentation. If you've resisted learning a new skill, sign up for an online course. At the end of the week, evaluate your experience. Did the change lead to growth? Did it challenge your fears? Most importantly, how did it shape your perspective? Change isn't just about external circumstances, it's also about internal transformation. When we embrace change, we discover hidden strengths. It's in the act of stepping into the unknown that we find courage we didn't know we possessed. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. Fear of change often masquerades as caution, but in reality, it's a self-imposed limitation. It whispers, "Stay where you are. It's safer here." However, safety is an illusion. Life itself is a continuous state of flux. The river flows whether we swim with it or resist. Those who embrace the current move forward, while those who cling to the rocks remain stagnant. To illustrate, think of a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. If it resisted change, clinging to its past as a caterpillar, it would never learn to fly. The transformation is difficult, but it's also necessary. Humans are no different. Every step into the unknown brings us closer to our potential. As you reflect on this, ask yourself, what change have I been avoiding and why? What could I gain if I embraced it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your journey might inspire someone else to take their first step toward change. Finally, let's remember that change is not an enemy to fear, but a teacher to welcome. It shows us what we're capable of, stretches our limits, and reveals paths we never imagined. By accepting this truth, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life, finding peace and strength in its rhythm. If this resonates with you, don't stop here. Hit like, share this video with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing lessons from Stoic philosophy. Let's navigate the currents of change together and embrace the boundless possibilities ahead. Sign 3. Talking more than listening. In the cacophony of modern life, it's easy to mistake dominance in conversations for confidence. Many believe that speaking more demonstrates authority, but the truth is, wisdom often reveals itself in the art of listening. Abraham Lincoln, one of history's most revered leaders, understood this profoundly. During the Civil War, amidst the chaos of conflicting opinions and egos, Lincoln was known to let his cabinet members speak first during meetings. This wasn't just a leadership strategy, it was a reflection of humility and wisdom. By listening patiently, he built trust, diffused tension, and made decisions rooted in understanding rather than impulsive judgment. His legacy reminds us that speaking less can often achieve far more. This concept is deeply embedded in Stoic philosophy. Epictetus once remarked, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The The Stoics understood that listening is not passive, it's a deliberate act of wisdom. When we listen, we learn, grow, and build meaningful connections. On the contrary, excessive talking often stems from insecurity, a need to prove oneself, or an overinflated sense of self-importance. In reality, dominating a conversation signals not strength but fear, fear of being overlooked or misunderstood. Consider a workplace scenario. Imagine a team leader who speaks over colleagues during meetings, dismissing their ideas without consideration. Initially, this behavior may project authority, but over time, it erodes trust and stifles collaboration. Contrast this with a leader who listens first, asks questions, and values input. Such leaders not only foster innovation, but also inspire loyalty and respect. In relationships, the same principle applies. When we speak more than we listen, we miss opportunities to understand our loved ones deeply, creating a chasm instead of connection. Listening requires humility, patience, and presence. These traits are the bedrock of wisdom and personal growth. When we allow others to speak, we acknowledge their value. This acknowledgement fosters trust and strengthens bonds, whether in personal relationships or professional settings. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This reminder urges us to approach conversations with an open mind, ready to absorb new perspectives rather than reinforce our own. The ability to listen is not only about what we gain, but also what we give. When someone feels heard, it validates their experiences and emotions. Listening is an act of generosity, a gift of your attention and respect. It's a small act with a profound impact, capable of transforming relationships and building bridges in even the most challenging circumstances. Yet listening is a skill that requires intentional practice. Begin by pausing before you respond. When someone speaks, resist the urge to interrupt or formulate your reply mid-sentence. Instead, focus entirely on their words. Ask clarifying questions to deepen your understanding and show genuine interest. For example, rather than jumping to conclusions, you might say, "Could you elaborate on that point?" Or, "How did you come to that perspective?" These questions demonstrate engagement and encourage deeper dialogue. Active listening also involves non-verbal cues. A nod, maintaining eye contact, or leaning slightly forward can communicate your attentiveness. These gestures, while subtle, reinforce the message that you value the speaker's words. Conversely, distractions such as checking your phone or looking away signal disinterest and can damage the interaction. Reflecting on past conversations can also be illuminating. Recall a time when you dominated a discussion. How did it make others feel? Did it strengthen the relationship or leave others feeling dismissed? These reflections are not meant to induce guilt, but to spark growth. The Stoics encourage self-awareness as a tool for improvement. Each conversation offers an opportunity to practice restraint, humility, and curiosity. Listening also provides clarity. In moments of conflict, our instinct may be to defend ourselves or assert our viewpoint. However, pausing to truly understand the other person's perspective can reveal underlying issues and pave the way for resolution. Imagine the difference this approach could make in workplaces, families, and communities. Conflict often arises from miscommunication, and listening is the antidote. Incorporating daily listening exercises can help make this habit second nature. Dedicate 5 minutes each day to listening without interruption. Whether it's a colleague, family member, or friend, practice giving them your full attention. Over time, this simple act will sharpen your ability to remain present and cultivate deeper relationships. Abraham Lincoln's example serves as a timeless reminder of the power of listening. His leadership demonstrated that decisions informed by understanding are far more impactful than those driven by impulse. In our own lives, we can emulate this wisdom by prioritizing listening over speaking. When we do, we not only grow wiser, but also create a ripple effect of trust and connection in the world around us. So, what about you? Have you ever learned something valuable simply by listening? Reflect on a recent conversation where you practiced patience and attentiveness. How did it change the dynamic? Share your experiences in the comments below. Let's inspire one another to listen more and speak with intention. As Epictetus reminds us, our 2 ears and 1 mouth are a reminder to prioritize listening. The wisdom you seek may already be around you, waiting to be discovered through someone else's words. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation, pause, breathe, and listen. You might just hear something that changes your perspective forever. Sign 4. Arrogance over humility. Arrogance often masquerades as confidence, but it's a mask that conceals insecurity and fear of vulnerability. The Stoics believed arrogance to be one of the greatest barriers to wisdom because it blinds us to the lessons we most need to learn. Epictetus famously said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Arrogance is the refusal to admit imperfection, while humility opens the door to growth, understanding, and connection. Consider the story of Michael, a senior manager at a large corporation. For years, he prided himself on being the most knowledgeable person in the room. During meetings, he would interrupt colleagues, dismiss new ideas, and dominate discussions. He believed his experience was sufficient to guide every decision. But his arrogance came at a cost. A critical project failed disastrously due to his unwillingness to consider alternate perspectives. When questioned, Michael blamed his team rather than acknowledging his own misjudgments. This not only damaged his reputation, but also eroded trust among his colleagues. Eventually, his arrogance became a liability to the company, and he was asked to step down. This story is a stark reminder that arrogance doesn't lead to respect, it breeds isolation. The inability to admit fault or value others' insights creates a wall between oneself and the wisdom that comes from collaboration. In contrast, humility is the cornerstone of self-awareness and progress. A humble person acknowledges their limitations and sees mistakes as opportunities to improve. This mindset not only fosters personal growth, but also strengthens relationships. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself, but about thinking of yourself less. It's the ability to step back, listen, and embrace perspectives that challenge your own. Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic philosopher, often reflected on the importance of learning from others. In Meditations, he emphasized, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." This principle urges us to approach life with openness rather than defensiveness. The consequences of arrogance extend beyond personal failure. They ripple outward, affecting teams, families, and communities. Imagine a family dinner where one member insists their way of doing things is always correct. Over time, this behavior creates resentment and stifles meaningful communication. Similarly, in workplaces, arrogant leaders fail to inspire their teams, leading to disengagement and missed opportunities. Humility, on the other hand, builds bridges. When leaders admit their mistakes or invite input from others, they create an environment of trust and mutual respect. Consider the difference it makes when someone says, "I hadn't thought of it that way, thank you for sharing," instead of dismissing a suggestion outright. This small act of humility can transform a tense situation into a constructive dialogue. But humility isn't just about improving relationships, it's also about sharpening your own intellect. When you acknowledge that you don't know everything, you become open to learning. This attitude allows you to adapt to changing circumstances, innovate, and grow in ways arrogance never could. Imagine a world where everyone prioritized humility, where leaders, educators, and individuals alike valued listening over lecturing. How much more harmonious and innovative would our societies be? Practicing humility begins with self-reflection. Take a moment to think about a recent mistake. Instead of brushing it aside or blaming external factors, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Write down the experience and identify specific actions you can take to improve in the future. This exercise not only builds accountability, but also shifts your mindset from defensiveness to growth. Another way to cultivate humility is to seek feedback. Ask a trusted friend or colleague, what's one area where you think I could improve? Listening to constructive criticism can be uncomfortable, but it's an invaluable tool for self-improvement. The willingness to hear and act on feedback demonstrates strength, not weakness. Daily mindfulness practices can also help combat arrogance. Start each day by reminding yourself that everyone you meet knows something you don't. Approach interactions with curiosity rather than judgment. This mindset transforms conversations into opportunities for learning and connection. Humility also requires us to recognize the contributions of others. If you're in a leadership position, make a habit of publicly acknowledging your team's efforts. If you're part of a group project, take the time to appreciate your peers' ideas. Gratitude fosters a sense of shared purpose and dismantles the ego-driven need to claim all the credit. The Stoics believed that true strength lies in admitting weakness. By letting go of arrogance, we free ourselves to embrace the full spectrum of human experience. We open our minds to new ideas, our hearts to meaningful relationships, and our lives to the possibility of continuous growth. So, what about you? How has humility shaped your journey? Reflect on a time when admitting a mistake or listening to someone else's perspective led to a breakthrough. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could inspire someone else to choose humility over arrogance. As we navigate life, it's important to remember that wisdom isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the one who listens, learns, and grows. The next time you feel the urge to assert your dominance, pause and ask yourself, am I trying to prove that I'm right, or am I seeking to learn? Choosing the latter will not only enrich your life, but also leave a lasting positive impact on those around you. Let humility guide your path to wisdom and fulfillment. Sign 5. Lack of empathy. Empathy, the ability to understand and share another's feelings, is the foundation of human connection. Without it, relationships crumble, misunderstandings multiply, and opportunities for growth are lost. The Stoics recognized empathy not as a weakness, but as a virtue that strengthens character and fosters unity. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. This mindset reflects the openness to others' experiences and the willingness to grow from them. Consider the story of Paul, a senior manager known for his sharp tongue and lack of patience. To Paul, meeting deadlines was non-negotiable. When a team member, Susan, missed an important milestone, Paul publicly reprimanded her without asking for an explanation. What Paul didn't realize was that Susan's young son had been hospitalized, and she had been juggling work with hospital visits. By failing to empathize with her situation, Paul not only humiliated a diligent employee, but also sowed distrust among his team. Months later, Paul faced his own personal crisis, caring for an ailing parent. Only then did he realize the profound impact his lack of empathy had on his team's morale and trust. This story illustrates the dangers of dismissing empathy. When we ignore others' perspectives, we isolate ourselves, damage relationships, and stifle collaboration. Empathy bridges the gap between individuals, fostering understanding and mutual respect. It enables us to see beyond surface-level interactions and recognize the shared humanity that binds us. Lack of empathy often stems from self-centeredness or an inability to step outside one's own experiences. People who struggle with empathy may view vulnerability as weakness or believe they are too busy to consider others' challenges. However, true wisdom lies in pausing to listen and understand. The Stoics emphasized that life is interconnected. Ignoring the struggles of others ultimately weakens the social fabric we all rely on. Empathy isn't just about offering kindness, it's a tool for growth. When we actively seek to understand another's perspective, we expand our own worldview. This practice enriches our emotional intelligence, making us more adaptable and resilient in the face of life's complexities. Imagine the transformation that could occur if we all took a moment each day to listen without judgment or offer support without expectation. Building empathy starts with small, intentional acts. Begin by asking someone, "How are you really doing?" and listening to their response without interrupting or offering advice. This simple question can open the door to meaningful conversations and foster a sense of connection. Another practice is to reflect on moments when you've been misunderstood. How did it feel? What would you have wanted from others in that situation? These reflections help cultivate a deeper appreciation for the experiences of those around you. Empathy also requires us to let go of assumptions. In Paul's case, he assumed Susan's missed deadline was due to negligence rather than unforeseen circumstances. By asking, "What challenges are you facing?" Instead of assigning blame, we create opportunities for understanding and collaboration. This shift in mindset not only improves relationships, but also enhances problem-solving and teamwork. The Stoics believed that empathy is a natural extension of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of humanity, reminding us that we are all part of a greater whole. Empathy aligns with this principle by fostering harmony and reducing conflict. It teaches us that supporting others doesn't diminish our own strength, it amplifies it. In practice, empathy can transform workplaces, families, and communities. Imagine a workplace where leaders prioritize understanding over criticism, or a family where members genuinely listen to each other's struggles. These environments not only thrive, but also nurture the individuals within them. Empathy is the glue that holds people together, allowing them to overcome challenges as a united force. One actionable step to build empathy is dedicating time to connect with others. Choose one person this week, a colleague, friend, or family member, and ask about their challenges. Offer your full attention and refrain from interrupting or judging. This small act can make a significant difference in their day and deepen your relationship. Over time, these intentional efforts create a ripple effect, inspiring others to practice empathy as well. It's important to recognize that empathy doesn't mean agreeing with everyone or condoning harmful behavior. Instead, it's about acknowledging emotions and validating experiences. This balance allows us to maintain boundaries while still showing compassion. As Marcus Aurelius advised, empathy should guide our interactions, but we must also remain anchored in our values. Reflect for a moment. Has there been a time when someone's empathy changed your life? Perhaps it was a friend who listened when you felt overwhelmed, or a colleague who supported you during a challenging project. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could inspire others to practice empathy in their own lives. The absence of empathy creates barriers, but its presence builds bridges. By cultivating empathy, we not only enhance our own character, but also contribute to a more understanding and harmonious world. The next time you're tempted to judge or dismiss someone's struggles, pause and ask yourself, how would I feel in their position? This simple question can transform interactions, relationships, and even lives. Empathy is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to our humanity. When we choose to understand rather than criticize, we embody the wisdom the Stoics revered. Let empathy guide your actions, and you'll discover a deeper connection to those around you and a greater sense of fulfillment within yourself. Sign 6. Closed-mindedness. Closed-mindedness, the unwillingness to embrace new ideas or perspectives, is a subtle yet destructive trait. While it may seem like a shield of certainty, it often turns into a barrier that stifles growth and isolates individuals from opportunities for improvement. The Stoics, with their emphasis on adaptability and openness, considered this a major obstacle to wisdom. As Epictetus aptly said, wisdom is not about always being right, but about being open to change and learning. Take Mark, for example, a department manager at a technology company. He was celebrated for his expertise and experience, but struggled to adapt to the rapidly evolving industry. When his team proposed integrating a new technology to streamline processes, Mark dismissed it outright, insisting that the old methods were sufficient. His resistance to change not only demotivated his team, but also led to missed opportunities. Competitors who embraced innovation quickly outpaced his company, leaving Mark's department struggling to catch up. The fallout from his closed-mindedness was clear: decreased morale, lost market share, and a tarnished reputation. This story underscores the dangers of a closed mind. People like Mark often believe their existing knowledge is sufficient, failing to recognize that the world is constantly changing. This mindset creates a false sense of security, locking them into outdated habits and preventing them from seeing the potential of new approaches. Closed-mindedness isn't just about rejecting external ideas, it's also about rejecting self-reflection and the possibility of being wrong. On the other hand, open-mindedness is the hallmark of true growth. It doesn't mean accepting every idea without scrutiny, but rather maintaining a willingness to explore, learn, and adapt. Stoic philosophy teaches that life's challenges often carry lessons, but only if we're willing to receive them. By embracing new perspectives, we open doors to innovation, understanding, and resilience. Open-mindedness begins with small steps. Start by seeking out a viewpoint that contradicts your own. This could be through a book, a discussion with someone who holds different beliefs, or even a documentary on an unfamiliar topic. Instead of immediately dismissing the idea, approach it with curiosity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How might this perspective challenge my assumptions? Over time, this practice builds intellectual humility and broadens your horizon. For example, consider the transformative leadership of Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. When he took over in 2014, Microsoft was seen as rigid and struggling to keep pace with competitors. Instead of clinging to the past, Nadella embraced a growth mindset, encouraging employees to learn from failures and innovate without fear. He shifted the company's focus to cloud computing and championed a culture of openness and adaptability. This willingness to change not only revitalized Microsoft, but also cemented its position as a leader in the tech industry. The contrast between Mark and Nadella illustrates the power of an open mind. Where Mark's rigidity led to stagnation, Nadella's adaptability fostered success. The difference lies in the ability to embrace uncertainty and use it as a catalyst for growth. Open-mindedness doesn't just benefit individuals, it transforms teams, organizations, and even societies. To cultivate open-mindedness, adopt a mindset of lifelong learning. The Stoics believed that wisdom is not a destination, but a journey of continuous self-improvement. Recognize that every interaction, every mistake, and every challenge is an opportunity to learn. Replace the fear of being wrong with the excitement of discovery. This shift in perspective turns failures into stepping stones and criticisms into valuable feedback. Closed-mindedness often stems from a fear of change or the discomfort of questioning deeply held beliefs. It's human to cling to what's familiar, but growth requires stepping into the unknown. The next time you encounter an idea that challenges you, resist the urge to reject it outright. Instead, pause and reflect. What if this is an opportunity to learn something new? This small shift can lead to profound personal transformation. Empathy also plays a vital role in overcoming closed-mindedness. When we seek to understand others' perspectives, we foster connection and reduce conflict. Listening actively, as discussed in the previous sign, helps us see the value in different viewpoints. It's not about agreeing with everything, but about recognizing that everyone's experiences and ideas have something to teach us. Reflect on your own experiences. Has there been a time when a new perspective challenged your beliefs and led to growth? Perhaps a conversation with a friend made you rethink a long-held opinion, or a book introduced you to a concept that changed your outlook. Share your story in the comments below. Your journey could inspire others to embrace open-mindedness and embark on their path to growth. As you practice open-mindedness, remember that it's a skill that grows with time and effort. The more you expose yourself to diverse ideas, the more resilient and adaptable you become. The Stoics understood that true wisdom lies in recognizing our limitations and striving to overcome them. By breaking down the walls of closed-mindedness, we unlock the potential to live fuller, more meaningful lives. In the end, open-mindedness is not just a trait, it's a choice. A choice to seek growth over stagnation, understanding over ignorance, and connection over isolation. When you choose to keep your mind open, you step into a world of endless possibilities, ready to face challenges with courage and wisdom. So ask yourself, what's one perspective that has challenged your beliefs and helped you grow? Share it below, and let's continue this journey toward wisdom together. Through these 6 signs, we've explored how foolishness often disguises itself in our daily behaviors, and how Stoic philosophy provides a compass to navigate toward wisdom. Whether it's letting go of blame, embracing change, listening more, practicing humility, fostering empathy, or opening your mind, each lesson invites us to reflect deeply and grow. Growth isn't about perfection, it's about self-awareness and the courage to improve. As the Stoics teach us, the path to wisdom begins the moment we recognize our flaws and take steps to overcome them. Now, it's time to take action. Are you ready to avoid these pitfalls and embark on a transformative journey to wisdom? Start small, pick just one sign, and consciously work to improve it this week. With each step, you'll find yourself closer to living a life of intentionality, growth, and peace. We want to hear from you. Which sign resonated with you the most? Did you recognize any habits in yourself or others that you're now inspired to change? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could ignite someone else's journey toward wisdom. If you found this video valuable, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button, share it with a friend who needs it, and subscribe to our channel to stay connected with more life-changing insights from Stoic philosophy. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss a new video. Together, we can build a community that thrives on growth, wisdom, and resilience. Your journey to wisdom starts here. Let's take the first step today.